Roll it again. Come to camera 2. Q Talent.
Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Sports Zone. I'm your host, Jackson Donovan. Joining me now to start off this week's episode with a little talk about the humiliating Dallas Cowboys loss this past Sunday is Mercedes Zaragoza and Alec Kraft. Mercedes, I'm going to let you go with this first. You're not a Cowboys fan, so you can get a little bit of a third-party view on this one. The Cowboys go out. They have a humiliating loss
Cowboys
to the Vikings.
lowlights. Ready 'em?
Basically runs the offense that the Cowboys have been trying to do all season long. What is your one takeaway from the beatdown that they were able to give the Cowboys?
You know, I think that a huge takeaway is the fact that they came in to this game, the Cowboys came into this game
Just the wrong lower third, or
to
does this
run
work?
Ezekiel Elliott, and from the get-go, the Vikings showed that they were not going to let him go anywhere, right? So they keep on running him, they keep on doing something that doesn't work. They dig themselves into a 14-point hole that they do a good job of coming back from a little bit in that second quarter. It just wasn't enough. They weren't able to get up on the Minnesota Vikings. You know, they let Dalvin Cook all over them the whole entire game, and that's just.
Flip over to a Cowboys perspective. All of the steam of the loss has gone against Jason Garrett, and rightly so. They were out coaching this one. Mike Zimmer did an incredible job. Of course, Jerry Jones's press conference kind of alluding to that, trying to deflect away from the Cowboys. What were your takeaways of kind of the aftermath of this game and what the Cowboys need to do moving forward?
Well, one thing that they have to fix is what you said. They dug themselves into a 14-point lead, and the way that I see this Cowboys
with the highlight rolling.
The team in general is almost like a lawnmower after a long winter.
We'll find out who's going to go with that.
Up, and you know, you keep yanking that cord, and it's not going to start. And you look at it, you know, at almost every loss that they've had, it's been a point like 7, 14, 21 points that they get down. I mean, look at that Jets game; they were down 21 points, I believe, at halftime. And you got to be able to fix that issue.
With Dalvin Cook kind of cementing himself now as in the talks to be an MVP. Of course, go back to the historic season Adrian Peterson had when he won the MVP with the Vikings. Dalvin Cook with stats better than him. Do we kind of move into the talk of it's too easy to give the MVP to a quarterback? I know we're going to talk about this later in the show, the MVP picks. Is Dalvin Cook a legitimate contender to win the trophy?
There were a few shows ago that we did buy or sell, and the subject actually was Christian McCaffrey and if he could win the MVP. And I actually said that I would actually put Dalvin Cook over Christian McCaffrey, and this game was a prime showing.
15 seconds.
You know, he showed up for Minnesota. He ran all over the Cowboys.
15
like
seconds.
I said before. I think he is, if the running backs could get the MVP. I still agree with you how QBs dominate the MVP race.
Thanks, bud.
But I think Dalvin Cook is a great pick for MVP for running backs.
All right, looking at the Cowboys schedule coming ahead of us, we have 2 back-to-back road games at Buffalo and then at New England. It's going to be a tough road. Some of the easier games are the road games. None of the home games are going to be easy. Of course, you got the Rams at home. Do you think the Cowboys still have a shot of winning the division now that they've kind of stumbled out of the gate at the midway point?
Roll the highlights.
You know, it's so hard to say because you look at this team week to week and they cannot play consistently at all. So if they're able to pick up in some sort of way, get this offense rolling from the gate, and they can play consistently from week to week, yeah, they have a good shot to win this division. But other than that, I don't know that they do.
All right, very quickly, does Jason Garrett keep his job at the end of the season? Do you want to fire him right now and start from scratch?
The one thing that I said to my roommate, who's a huge Cowboys fan, I think I even said it to Alec, that the first time that they played Philadelphia, I
need camera 3 to follow her. She's kind of moving a little bit.
Reason to fire Jason Garrett mid-season.
Not quite yet, though.
If they lose this game, that would be a reason to fire him mid-season. They won that game, he's still going. I think that if they do not win the division, he will be fired, as rightfully so.
Moving ahead, we're going to look 1 week in advance, going to Buffalo. Did the Cowboys pull this one off? Buffalo is a good team, though they've had an easy schedule, which shows on their record of why they have a winning record. Do you think we win in Buffalo to try and take momentum into New England?
You know, it's a very tough situation right now. So you look at the Lions, Matthew Stafford, he has that 1 to 3 week span with this broken back injury. And it's really tough to say. They didn't do a very good job against Chicago, which I personally believe is not a good team at all. So if Matthew Stafford does not start, I think the Cowboys win the game.
All right, well, when we come back, Michael and Will break down what comes next for LSU and Alabama after their Goliath matchup this past weekend.
Music under. Ready VTR 2. Roll it. Where's music under? What happened? All right, let's work on that. It's not on mute or anything? Okay. Alright, we didn't hear it.
What if I have the LSU versus Alabama underneath the lower third?
Huh? Go ahead and pull up the lower third for the next one. That one right there.
But I got the...
Oh, that...
Yeah, like I got this stuff already.
Oh yeah, so click the other one. Click take offline, the red button above take next. Click it and just take offline.
And it's expensive. Your family is going $1,500 a year in the trash.
What are the
cool
online?
On. Yeah, what's that, man? Yeah, listen. Guys, quiet please, quiet please.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
Yes. Hey man, I try to give you every minute if I can, but sometimes you're in the middle of talking, so I wait until I can tell you. Cool, man.
Internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe
How long back on commercials?
She's a 45 seconds. Sweet. How about that? Ah, there you go. Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, James!
Like 40 seconds. Last commercial right here.
Hi! Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert?
I think it's funny. I blew on him.
Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus.
Oh yeah, pretty gross, yeah.
Probably okay.
What part?
Okay.
Where'd you go?
If you see a warning sign,
Oh, yeah.
stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
Yeah.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Hey, can you get my Here we go. Ready, camera 2. Cue talent.
Saturday's matchup between LSU and Alabama was one for the ages. LSU finally broke an 8-game losing streak to their SEC West rival. With me now to break down this historic matchup is Will Broderick and Michael Fishman. So we look back at this game, it had everything you can think of. LSU had an erratic end to the first half where they scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes. Alabama came surging back in the second half. Tua kind of rectified his horrible first half. Let's just break down what this is going to mean for these two teams. LSU wins, they take over the #1 spot in the college football playoff.
I think it's going to be Bama highlights
loses.
first.
They don't really lose a lot of
Bama
ground,
highlights,
but now they have the 1 loss on their schedule. Do you think both of these teams will make it into the college football playoff?
I think they do.
Cue it up.
Personally, I don't have Alabama
Roll
in my
it.
top 4 anymore.
Take.
I'm putting
So I got Will
Minnesota
talking.
there, but we can maybe touch
We're
on
probably
that.
going to Jim next.
I'm good with that.
But, you know, you look at it realistically, Alabama's probably going to get in, especially with just 1 loss, and their 1 loss is going to be to the presumably
So we'll run and then the other?
undefeated LSU Tigers.
Okay.
So putting Bama there, you know, probably 4th, it makes sense, and that's the most likely option.
I'll switch up the question just a little bit. Do you believe LSU is going to hold on to the #1 seed all the way through, or do you think Ohio State still has a little bit of claim to that #1 spot?
You know, when it comes down to like the basics, I really think
1 minute
LSU
left.
can beat Ohio State. I mean, LSU, they have a really good offense. They're running, obviously Joe Burrow, he's in the front runner for Heisman. Like, he played excellent. He threw 31 for 39, 393 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he's paired with yeah, I just think he has a really good offense, honestly.
Okay, so let's look ahead a little bit in the Heisman race. You mentioned Joe Burrow is one of the front runners for the Heisman right now. Has he locked it down, or do you think there's someone that's going to sneak up, maybe a quarterback from Minnesota who had an elite game of over 300 yards passing? Or do you think Joe Burrow is just going to take it home the rest of the game?
As much as I love Tanner Morgan from Minnesota,
okay, so what I'll do is take him full.
Joe Burrow just won the Heisman on Saturday.
How
and
long?
Quite frankly, he deserves to. He just took an Alabama team that, even though their defense isn't as strong,
you rolling LSU?
That's still a really good defense and
you rolling
a
LSU?
long tradition of great success on the defensive side of the ball. And they were on the road. They were in Tuscaloosa, and Joe Burrow still lit them up. In my opinion, there's not a quarterback that's going to have a more impressive win combined with more impressive statistics.
All right, let's do a hypothetical look ahead in the season. Say these two teams meet up in the semifinals or finals of the college football playoff. Does Alabama get revenge at a neutral site, or do you think LSU again just proves their dominance and wins their second straight in this matchup?
Personally, I think if Alabama can clean up their offense a little bit, I mean, LSU played kind of rough in the first half. I think if they can pull everything together, they might have a chance. But I'm still taking LSU being Alabama if they play again.
Let's do another hypothetical.
I'll do it in just a second.
It's one of those questions nobody's really talking about, but it's a very viable thing to be concerned about for the playoff. What happens if Georgia beats LSU in the SEC championship? Do we see 3 SEC teams in the playoff, or is it going to be one of those committee decisions that everyone's going to get fired up about?
So I'm going to assume that Clemson wins the ACC because
2.5.
the ACC isn't good enough.
I'm on camera 2.
Ohio State wins the Big Ten. And if Georgia takes the SEC from LSU, I think Bama gets left out. I think that there's no way you can put Bama in the SEC champ or any of those other two undefeated
go and switch it.
champions, and then how can you put them in over LSU, a team they lost to at home? In my opinion, if Georgia is able to take the SEC championship,
are they talking about these rankings?
This rivalry historically has gone Alabama's way. Of course, we look, the last 8 matchups have gone to Alabama. Is this still one of the best rivalries in college football, even though it's one-sided, or do you have one that's better?
Honestly, I think this is a really good rivalry.
Graphics.
In my opinion, they said it's the game of ages, the game of history, basically. Made the books. I mean, LSU starting off really strong and just keeping that momentum throughout the game. I see no doubt about it. LSU and Alabama, it's a great rivalry overall.
Do you believe that LSU will hold on to the #1 rank? And how far do you think Alabama could drop if this kind of gets in their head and they maybe stumble in their next game?
I don't know who they're going to stumble against, Alabama.
I got an idea.
The rest of their schedule in the
Cameron,
SEC.
sometimes I impress me.
It's pretty easy. They're almost certainly going to win their last 3. I think LSU should hold on to the top spot. It's nothing against Ohio State. I think they very well might be the best team in the country. But LSU, you look at the teams they've beaten, they absolutely deserve that 1 spot.
Very quickly, do you think LSU wins the college football championship?
Yes, I think they're the best team in the nation.
Do you agree?
Yes, no doubt in my mind.
All right. Well, after the break, it's time to discuss the midseason MVP picks in the NFL.
So music under? No music under. Ready commercial? Roll it.
No, I didn't have it.
His goodbyes are too quick to even cue the music. At this point, if we use music under, it's going to sound weird. But is this something not working, or what's going on with that? Under on it? Okay. Hey, you've been ending the blocks a little early, so we can go over a little bit on the next time. We've got like 46 seconds extra.
What side am I on?
We'll do it on the next block, is that what you're saying?
Look right there.
This block? Okay, we'll do it on this block. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mind. This is it.
Yeah,
First impression. My way in. But can my resume show you how I
now I gotta sit that back though.
Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries.
It went offline, so I don't know where it's this one.
No.
Do you know where that graphic is?
Look beyond the resume.
Lower on the list.
Discover new ways to develop
That right there?
great talent.
It's on M3. Hit take right now.
The little latch, and I couldn't find it because the thing was broken. It was like this. So
Hold on, Jackson. Oh yeah, it's back. Okay, we got it back online. The underlay. Okay, what's up, Jackson? Oh, hold on. Just a second. Just a second. All right, what's up, Jackson? Oh, you got to ask the question to Christian. Christian's got to ask me what it is.
Find a neighborhood park or green space near you.
Like 6:40. Sound good?
Last commercial.
Listen, I realized that I'm not.
We're on the last commercial, everyone. Get ready. Get set up.
It started to change because you judge me for having a problem.
20
no
seconds
one
to
is
bump.
going to know that I need
Can we
help.
add commercial?
I need
You gotta get out of there. Christian, get out of there.
No one is going to judge me for having a problem.
10 seconds to
I
bump.
realized that I'm
Yeah,
not
add a
perfect,
commercial.
But it all really started to change.
I bought 30
because
extra
you
seconds
listened.
because he wasn't ready.
Together again.
Good job, man. Now this is the last commercial. No, we can still keep going.
So we still want it to last 6:40.
He's under consistently anyway. We'll just
15 seconds.
overshoot it. Hey, that was very quick. Thank you for doing that. He was still tucking in his shirt. I was like, yeah, I'll throw a commercial on.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
All right, here's the bump. Cue talent.
Together again to join me now at the desk is our dynamic duo, Garrett Stringfellow and David Castillo. Now the MVP race is heating up with stellar performances this past weekend by some of the top contenders. This past weekend, it's time now to let our analysts put their knowledge to the test and see who is the new front runners for the league MVP. So, David, I'm going to let you start this one because I know that you're one of my favorites because you're a proponent for the running back. Do you have a pick for running back that's still going to be in your top 5 for MVP contenders?
Absolutely. I think Christian McCaffrey is not only the best running back in the league
I got his
right
picks
now,
up.
aside from Dalvin Cook, but he's one of the best offensive weapons.
Leave it how it is. Don't touch it yet.
Every single game he's had, he's either had 100 yards from scrimmage or a touchdown.
His on Garrett's.
That hasn't been done by
Can
any
you
other
put that
player
on
in the NFL.
M4?
The last person to
Frank
do
Buffett
that,
drop down?
he's actually one of 4 players.
Yeah.
Eric
No,
Dickerson,
just click
Chris
it.
Holmes, and Emmitt Smith. It's a pretty
that
good
drop down?
list to be a part of.
M4.
So I definitely think Christian McCaffrey is the leading candidate
then
for
hit
MVP. And I know it could be, I could go with the quarterback route, which a lot of people I think we might go with.
Okay, so what I can do,
I really truly think since 2012,
I'm going to go back
this
to
is
camera
the first
2 for a
running back to
second.
really have a case.
Now, a lot of the quarterbacks are getting the
So then I'm
spotlight
going
with
to preview
what
this.
Russell
This is
Wilson
what I
did
can
on Monday
do.
Night Football, knocking off an undefeated team. He had a great game. And then, of course, you have Lamar Jackson, who is putting up video game type numbers, which we haven't seen since Michael Vick with the Falcons. Do you have quarterbacks at the top of your list, or are you going to maybe slide down with us and talk about some running backs?
Do you want me to do that
Actually,
instead?
I think my top 3 picks are all quarterbacks. I think Russell Wilson is at the top of the list. I think Lamar Jackson's right below him. And I think the much forgotten about Patrick Mahomes is still number 3. I mean, you look at, he's missed 2 games. His numbers are right up there with Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson. And he is just one of the most talented players in the game, probably the most talented player at his position.
Which one?
But I think when you think about MVP, you got to think about not only who is the best player at their position, who has the most talent, but who is contributing the most value towards your team.
Then let me ask you this as a counter. What would it take for a running back to break into your top 3 to maybe be considered for the MVP?
I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I have Dalvin Cook up here. I actually think Dalvin Cook is a better candidate for MVP than Christian McCaffrey, solely based on the fact that the Vikings' entire offense is based around Dalvin Cook and the run game. Their passing game is completely set up by play action. You look at last night, or on Sunday night against the Cowboys, not every single
He's
pass,
talking about
but
Christian
the majority of
McCaffrey, and
their
I have that.
is set up with play action.
Oh, he just
Play action
mentioned
doesn't work
Christian
unless
McCaffrey.
you have a running back like Dalvin Cook who can find those holes behind that offensive line, and you have lots of action in the back. And it's his talent that creates not only the run game, but the pass game.
Is there a lower
I
third
wanted
for
to
this?
say something. I know you said, everything's kind of based in Minnesota behind
Good,
Dalvin
I like
Cook.
the debate.
The exact same can be said for McCaffrey in Carolina. Since Newton's been down, he's been the complete focal
Ready
point.
McCaffrey
So he's
highlights.
doing this now, receiving the highest workload out of running backs in the league, facing the biggest 8-man boxes. So he's doing it against stacked boxes and still contributing on both sides of the field as far as receiving or rushing. So I think when it comes to that, at least you have to give McCaffrey the best running back. I know Cook's doing great, but you got to give it to McCaffrey on that.
Well, then we'll change it up a little bit. I asked him what it would take for a running back to get on his list. For you, what would it take to put a quarterback at the top of yours for MVP?
Really, it wouldn't take much. Lamar Jackson is doing stuff that hasn't really been seen since Michael Vick. He's doing stuff that is really making the offense in Baltimore dynamic, exciting. I mean, people were buying tickets to go see it because they want to see Lamar Jackson do something. do another spin move, rush down for a touchdown. I mean, he's doing great stuff. So I think he's not far. I wouldn't be too far off by saying Lamar Jackson would be a quarterback I would choose as an MVP candidate. So,
45.
yeah, I think it's pretty close.
You have Russell Wilson at the top of your list with the addition of Josh Gordon. Do you think that is going to kind of put him over the top?
Ready,
or do you
Russell
think
Wilson
players
highlights?
like Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes are still going to keep neck and neck, even though Mahomes had a great game but lost this past weekend?
Yeah, and I think losing ultimately, as I don't know whether you would believe it's valuable or not as far as your record at the end of the season.
Okay.
But I think to the voters, the people that are going to make one of these players the MVP, I think losing does matter. And I think the record inevitably does matter. Russell Wilson, they're 8-2 after that win against San Francisco. Lamar Jackson, Baltimore, 7-2. The Chiefs have fallen down to 6-4. Obviously, that's not entirely Mahomes' fault. He's missed a couple of games. He's been hurt. And their defense is, I think, probably the worst out of all three of those teams, the Ravens, Seahawks, and the Chiefs. But ultimately, I just think it's gonna be a two-man race. Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson.
If records do matter, why are we not hearing from players like Tom Brady or Jimmy Garoppolo, the two best records in the NFL?
I think it's easy. Their offenses aren't nearly as dynamic as, say, someone like Mahomes or Russell Wilson. They're doing enough to get their teams to win, but the teams are not solely relying on those two quarterbacks to make sure that they get the wins. Russell Wilson is the focal point in Seattle.
Give me a two-shot of them.
You got Mahomes, who is the focal point in Kansas City. So you got these guys who are the leader of the team and taking their team getting W's.
Oh, never mind. I didn't use
All right, so let's just look at this from a little bit different perspective. Do you believe that it is a guarantee that the team who is most likely to win the Super Bowl has the MVP player on it, or are you okay with someone who's not going to make the playoffs winning the trophy?
Oh, I'm okay with somebody who's not a playoff contender even, because I don't think Carolina is.
So when they start talking again, try to smoothly go back to a three-shot with the jib.
I don't think being solely having a winning team is the reason why you should win. It's a big part of it, and I do think there's a lot of reason you should back that up with quarterbacks.
The color's a little weird.
You know, when Christian McCaffrey has the
40 seconds,
it's not solely on him. So
it's okay. Don't worry about it.
And I would like to say that because I know Jared in the back. J.J. Watt is injured, and it's just another season that a defensive player will not win the MVP, and I'm kind of happy about that. But it's time for one final break, but once we come back, we will head first into the heartbreaking loss that the Mean Green suffered this past weekend. Stay tuned.
Roll commercials.
It's fine.
What's up with music? Is it just broken?
It's more important than to like yourself. And I'm comfortable.
Okay, we'll work on it after the show. Get the next graphic. I got Amanda on camera right.
Whose housebound assures me that I'm not forgotten and care that I'm okay.
Yeah.
My name is Asha Ida Bell. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason. Because it means love and devotion for one's country.
It's kind of pink.
What really makes up this country of ours? It's the people.
It's got a
pinkish. To love America. It's to love all Americans.
It's got a pink tint to it. You can't do it on the jib. It's not something you can do on the actual camera.
Love beyond age, sexuality.
Jib, you can't do it in there. You have to do it out here.
Religion and other labels.
Go ahead and give me that two-shot again, though. I mean, not two-shot. Give me the single shot on Jackson.
I understand.
It didn't.
I know it's not your typical resume.
Jib, zoom back out.
But
you see, it's kind of pink. I hate this commercial.
I think everything's wrong.
But I've been working double shifts just to pay for books.
He didn't. It's not the same kind of white balance. Yeah.
I'm determined, driven, motivated. Isn't that what you're looking for?
Look beyond the resume and discover
Go ahead, quickly zoom in.
Great talent at Graduate.
How long is this commercial?
Last commercial.
Last commercial. Did you hit it, Jared? Yep.
20 seconds to bump.
Did you do it? Okay, zoom back out.
This is the moment I knew.
Still slightly pink. It's a little weird. Just keep it on a single shot of Jackson. It's okay. We'll use it that way. They're trying to white balance it.
Find yours at Discover.
Not a lot. No. Not a lot. Yeah. Ready, camera 2. Stand by. Q talent.
The UNT Mean Green suffered yet another loss this past weekend, remaining winless on the road after falling 52-17 to Louisiana Tech. With me now is Amanda Batchelder and Gilberto Obregon. Now, Gilberto, I'm going to let you start because you've got a little bit more of the insight on the offense. Mason Fine
UNT
goes
lowlights,
down with a
I
concussion. We do have a bye week this week, which could not come at a better time.
Camera 3, zoom back out. It's too close.
Everyone predicts UNT
Camera 1, 2, both y'all need to zoom out. Quickly, camera 3, zoom out.
Will be able to get healthy to come
Quickly,
back
camera 3, zoom out.
I mean, I want to believe. I
Anybody
hope
on camera 3?
I hope he gets healthy for the game, for the Rice game.
Quickly.
Because Rice is a very winnable
Zoom out.
game. But
More.
I think what I take away
More.
from this game, it let me know that UNT
Roll
football
low
is
lights.
really not ready for post Mason Fine era. Mason Fine went down. We were down. I think the score was 10-3. And after Mason Fine went down in the first, we didn't score until like the
Camera 1 needs to zoom out a little bit as well.
Makes me worry more about the future of the UNT.
They were way too close on their single shots. It was just a
As we switch
head.
a little bit over to the defense, you have a very hard critique of how this defense played.
The defense looked like Swiss cheese.
Can you tell them a little bit more?
There's not a lot I can really say about it, other than I really think they looked like Swiss cheese. Their defense is.
What does that even mean? How does it look like?
Gappy and
Means their defense is like super.
Let's switch it up a little bit. UNT now, they had to win 2 of their last 3. They lose in Ruston to Louisiana Tech. We move into the bowl picture.
Go ahead and just hit
everyone's
take.
going to talk about. We've lost the last 3 bowl games that we played in under Coach Luttrell and with Mason Fine. You have to win at Rice and with UAB coming in to Apogee. Does UNT have the capability to do so, or are they going to miss out on a bowl game for the first time in this era?
Like I said, Rice is very winnable, but this season we have been losing the
How long in the video?
winnable games. Don't get me wrong, Rice is 0-9. They haven't won a game this whole season. So I'm going to still give them to UNT, but UAB,
3.5
I don't
minutes.
think we could beat UAB. UAB's has the number 1 scoring defense in Conference USA. And as we know, UNT's offense has a turnover problem. And UAB also has the number 1 defense versus the run. And our running game is not the best. Although it is a home game, and it is the last home game of the season, and maybe, we get the crowd packing and it's going to be on our side, I doubt we can beat UAB. I'll be more than happy, and for sure it'll make us bowl eligible, but I'm probably going to give like UNT a 25% chance of winning it.
Now, do you believe UNT is going to be able to make it to a bowl game, get their 6th win, and put themselves eligible, or do you think fans are going to go home angry?
I think fans are going to go home angry.
245.
The way the bowl situation has worked out, you have to win 6 games to even be considered bowl eligible. And if we play, the thing is we haven't won a game on the road at all this season. Rice should be an easy dub for us because it's Rice. They're 0-9. They don't look great. And
5 seconds.
I think if we go into Rice and beat them, that's one thing, right? That'll give us a little bit of a boost of morality going into the last week of the season, senior day against UAB. That's another thing that you're going to want to have, that like positive energy type of mentality going into the game. We also haven't won back-to-back games this season either, which doesn't really put this whole thing in our favor. But
go to camera 2 next, I think.
Somewhere we can pull it out, and we're going to be able to go 6. And I don't know how math works anymore.
So as we go to the end of the season, this is Mason Fine's senior year. It's his last year of eligibility to play. Is this not making a bowl game? Do you think that's going to tarnish his reputation? Or do you think it's going to be one of those that people are just going to relish in the fact that Mason Fine took UNT from obscurity into being a winning program?
Going to 3.
I think people are going to realize that, like you said, Mason Fine did what he could with Coach Luttrell.
Yeah,
and
but they're
in
talking
other words,
bad
Mason
about
Fine
him.
put UNT back on the map, if we were even ever on the map. So I don't think it's going to tarnish like his reputation, but I do believe it's going to be like, oh, well, he didn't make it, but then again, he did what he could have done.
All right, we're going to look at the last 2 games very quickly. Rice and UAB, how many wins do we come out with those 2 games?
Too late now.
The fan in me wants to tell you 2 wins, but if I had to put some extra money in it, we're coming out 1-1, and we're beating Rice and we're losing to UAB.
I'll give you the same question. How many wins does UNT come out with to end their season and maybe the legacy of Mason Fine?
Yeah.
Realistically,
That's the end of the
1-1.
block.
They're going to win Rice.
Oh, yeah.
Last week of the season.
Well, that will do it for us here at Sports Zone. I would like to remind everyone watching that we will be back every week at 4 o'clock,
I need music. I have to
bringing
have
you the
it.
latest
It's going to be
sports
weird if
news
we don't
from
have
around
it.
the university and DFW. If you miss any of our shows, you can find all of our tapings on our YouTube channel
we don't have
at
it then.
NTTV Sports.
It's fine.
Thank you
Get ready
again
for
for
Apogee
tuning in.
sound.
We'll be back same time
automation
next week.
sounds.
And as always, stay classy, North Texas.
Okay, I'm going to go to Apogee for just a second. Ready automation. And pull up automation.